Ian, clap.
Did you get that? Did you get the clap?
Yeah, but you have to say what time it is.
Oh, God damn it.
Son of a...
You know what time it is? It's high noon.
Time to play the game.
Okay, when I clapped, it looks like it was 250. 250.
Close
250,
enough.
Bob.
Okay. 250, Bob. All right, 250. Christopher, can you give me the clap, please?
Give me the...
This is why we can't have nice things.
Hello and welcome to the Gamebrew Podcast, episode 31. I am your tiefling paladin, Ian Richard, and I am joined by dwarf barbarian Chris Wrights.
Hi.
Gnome bard Dan Rotz.
Yo, you guys want to hear a fucking song on my flute? It's fantastic.
And wood elf druid Allison Vandevender.
I'd give you a heal, but I don't feel like it.
So evil.
Classic.
Today, in the first half of the show, we'll discuss the Telltale Games we've been playing this past week, and in the second half, we'll discuss our unpopular opinions about gaming. But first, it's time for a beer.
God damn it.
Chris, what are we drinking this week?
So this week it is Samuel Smith Nut Brown Ale. It's a 5% brown ale. It's from the oldest brewery in Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
I don't know if I said that right. Yorkshire.
The oldest brewery in Yorkshire.
It's like the
Yes.
Jolly Earl of Chumley. There's like 12 more syllables.
Which is fitting because today was, well, they're not, well, yeah, we're a wedding, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're married.
Okay,
They're married.
we can tie that together.
That thing happened.
It's brewed with well water, and it's the same well that they've been using for like 250 years, which is pretty sweet. And they use a strain of yeast that has been used since around 1900. So it's got a lot of history behind it. It's pretty cool.
I've got a strain of yeast from the 1900s.
You should probably go to the doctor.
See the doctor, yeah.
I don't trust doctors.
I was wondering what that smell was.
Also, another fun fact is that this beer is registered with the Vegan Society, so it's suitable for vegans and vegetarians, which I also assume means that it's good for omnivores and carnivores as well.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like I should stop drinking it and just be mad at it instead, though.
Wait, wouldn't all beers be vegan? Why am I confused about this?
Probably, I mean, probably most of, I mean, I assume that the one that, there's one from Dogfish Head that has scrapple in it, so I assume that one is not.
Yeah, that one's probably. But I guess being vegan, doesn't that mean that you, like, if it causes harm to an animal, you wouldn't do it? So maybe, like, the hops are...
Veganism is no animal products. So, like, milk is not necessarily, you're not like killing a cow to get its milk. But
you cannot have vegans do not have milk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's no animals, but also no animal products.
Well, then that makes sense because I'm sure there are some, well, I don't know. I'm not a science man.
Does the yeast not count like it's okay to eat?
I guess yeast does
bacteria?
not count as an animal.
Yeah.
It's an organism. That's bullshit. Vegans, you are bullshit. Just let me. Those are my real feelings.
Wow. Okay.
Yeast has feelings too.
Yeah. So
put it on a t-shirt.
Most beers are vegan. Most beers are vegan. But I guess this one's specifically claiming, hey guys, just so you know, we're vegan.
It's just kind of funny that they chose to like register that so it's like official.
No animals were harmed in the brewing of this beer.
We really just thought that everyone would like to know that our beer is vegan. It's very important to us. We're very polite. We feel it is important that you know.
All right, so getting past the label, how do we feel about it?
It's nutty.
Nutty.
It's brown.
Nutty and brown, both of those things are on the label.
A couple years ago, I kind of got tired of IPAs and kind of switched over to brown ales as like my favorite styles, and this is one of the big ones. I think a lot of people have had this. I feel like.
What distinguishes it? What kind of flavors are in there that you might not have in other brown ales?
A brown ale is distinguished by the fact that it's got a lot of malt in it, so it's going to be very malty. Malted.
You can definitely taste that too, like
Yes.
the maltiness. Like it's very. I don't want to use the word smooth, but smooth, because it's like when you're drinking it, it doesn't feel like you're drinking a sharp beer. It's the opposite of a sharp beer.
Yeah.
You know, like it's very
Yeah.
muted in its mouthfeel, but the flavor. Yeah, don't do that. Stop that.
That was me feeling with my mouth, everybody. Just imagine what that looks like.
No, don't imagine what that looks like.
Many a person, I'm sure, has imagined what that looks like.
Oh God, I can't stop imagining it. I'm gonna go throw up. Excuse me. But it's still like the flavor is like this nutty, like very earthy flavor that you don't
earthy.
usually think of
Good.
with ales. I feel like usually that's like a portery thing to me.
Yeah, and this is not like a thirst quenching ale. It's very
No.
it's a drinking ale. It's good for like when you've had a long day and you just want something that's going to nourish you.
I just spent all day in the coal mines. No, I need a beer.
Before I go to brass band practice.
Before I go to brass band. It's like, is you and McGregor's there?
And Allison, you're being awfully British over there as well with your tea, no?
Yeah. So I am drinking Numi Organic Tea Rooibos, is what it's called.
I love rooibos tea.
Red
Yeah.
tea.
Yeah, I put a little milk in it this go, because that's the way to drink it, in my opinion. And a little bit of honey, because it's
a
very, very
British way to
earthy.
drink it.
It's all of Britain thanks you for your
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah, it's really good. I had some trouble finding specifically nutty things, so I had to go a little more earthy than anything. But it's the best I could do on a time crunch.
Okay, and one more time, what was the name of it?
It's a Numi Organic Tea was the brand, and it's Rooibos.
Oh, nice. Very cool. For the past 2 weeks, we've all been playing a different Telltale game, and so we wanted to spend a little bit of time just talking about those and talking about our impressions of the games. And Allison, I actually want to start with you because you're playing a pretty old school Telltale game, strong, bad school game for attractive people. Do you feel more attractive for having played this game?
Yeah? 1,000% more attractive, actually.
Wow.
That's important.
Good to know.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe I have to play it.
And I'll note, if you're not a cool person, you should probably just not play it. So there's also that.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
how does this game play out? Are you like at the compy 365, like typing away?
No, it's a point and click. It's literally, I'm just clicking objects in the game. It kind of reminds me of a dumbed down version of another Telltale game. If any of you have happened to play the CSI ones that they did.
I didn't know.
I did a long time ago, back when they first came out. I was into those, and it's very similar to that, actually.
So this is like pre The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that
Yeah,
the one
this-
that made them really big?
I think
Yeah.
so.
I'm not sure.
I think The Walking Dead is the one that made him really big, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the cool game for attractive.
No, I said The Walking Dead. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. Ignore me, everybody.
We will.
Sorry, carry on, Allison.
So you got to kind of take it for what it's worth. It's not The Walking Dead. It's not going to be like one of your all's games where I have a bunch of cool story bits to talk about and things like that. There were actually 5 episodes, shockingly, which I didn't expect. I didn't get through all of them in time. I thought there were only 4 and I got through 3. So I was like, I'm still short, but I'm way short. It's like $20, which is cool for 5 episodes to play through. They're all pretty short by themselves, I guess. But each one of them kind of plays out like an extended Homestar Runner like video, which is really cool and nostalgic for me. They bring back all the characters in different ways, and you have different interactions with them, and they give you different bits of the story. So that's a pretty cool factor.
Is Lil Brutta in the cool game for attractive people?
No, at least not that I've gotten to.
it's Trogdor.
No. Trogdor.
Well, like Trogdor had like bits and pieces.
Nice.
But like yeah, it's referenced more than anything. But yeah, they, like, you do the Teen Girl Squad comic. There's a bit about that, and you
Nice.
and you edit that, and they have a lot of little mini games that are kind of like old school Atari-esque games. The video games system that they that they had in the comics, you get to play on that. That's pretty cool. There's a different one every episode, I guess, from what I'm seeing so far.
So it's not just point and click. Like, it does get out of that very strict sort of set of gameplay tools.
That's the basic structure. But then there are the mini games that kind of do other things, if that makes sense.
Does that do enough to make it feel like a video game that's something other than a point and click adventure? Like, does it elevate it?
Yeah, so for me, I kind of came into this game expecting it to be a cash grab from the people who made, Homestar Runner. They're like, back when this came out, it's like, oh, this is popular. Let's quickly throw together a piece of crap and sell it. I was really kind of expecting that, and it was honestly well put together considering. It's aged, so there's definitely some simplicity to it. But it was really nostalgic. If you haven't listened to the Homestar Runner stuff, I suggest watching those episodes first and seeing if you like it, because that's the only reason I like this. Is it was really a throwback in a lot of ways to that stuff. But
would you? So you finished 3 out of the 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Would you? Are you going to go back for 4 and 5? Now that you are no longer compelled by the Gamebrew to do so?
Yeah, no, I will, because I love nostalgia. I'm big into that. So this was a lot of fun for me, even though it was like really basic and like I said, a hunt and find. You grab all these items, you put them in your bag, and you'll use them later for other things. The only downside I really felt from the game was the map itself. Like, the world is it feels really empty, I guess. And I think a lot of that is they haven't developed but certain areas in the webcomics. So I think they really just didn't think about the fact that they all have to interconnect and you're going to be traveling through them. So you'll just be like walking through Greenfield for a really long time for no reason. And it's just like, oh, and now I'm where I should be kind of thing.
Bub's Snack Shack.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey,
the Bub's Snack Shack area is actually the one that I'm speaking of that's a little weird. It's just like field, and then there's the Snack Shack, and then we turn here, and there's Strong Badia, and not much else, but there's lots of places to walk and do nothing.
And around the corner, there's that Coach Z. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was cool, the way that they intertwined everything together, but definitely only for the people who like that series.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's kind of indicative of all the Telltale stuff, because what they're doing is they're taking a lot of times they're taking on pre-made IPs and then sort of putting a game on top of it. So speaking of other IPs, Dan, one of my favorite IPs is Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course Telltale put together one of Guardians of the Galaxy game. And how is it? Is it good? Tell me it's good.
Well, I mean, it's good for, it's a good Telltale game. No, okay. So we need to talk about Telltale Games for a second, because they are very, they do use, you just said that they use these other IPs for their stuff. Yeah. So, now the thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy was great, because I'm a corny, jokey, stupid person, and I love like comic book stuff. So, number one, it's not the Guardians of the Galaxy from the movie. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy from the comic books. So they all look a little bit different. Like Gamora.
Not the same voice actors.
No, not the same. Actually, I was looking this up earlier. I got to pull up one of them. But Rocket Raccoon is played by Nolan North in that one.
Nolan North. Why do I know that name?
Because he's
in a lot of things.
He's fucking everything, dude.
So, for example.
Oh God, I'm gonna pull it up. You ready?
He was. In Arkham City, he was Penguin in Black Mask.
He's Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series.
He's a huge voice actor.
He's Deadpool in the Deadpool game.
He's literally like everything.
That's a lot of different. I mean, I guess Deadpool and Rocket Raccoon are actually pretty similar thematically now that I think about it. But Nathan Drake's like a lot different.
Well, it's more so like he is very versatile as a voice. He's the Ghost in Destiny 2. You've played that a bunch, so you know.
Yes, yeah. That's an indie game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
small, tiny developer called.
Yeah.
big. In
Activision?
Assassin's Creed 3, he was Desmond Miles.
Okay, he's like a huge name.
Oh yeah,
Does he do Rocket justice, Dan?
Yes, he does it very well. Like, as much as like you listen to it, you're like, yeah, it's fucking Rocket Raccoon. That's the voice from the comics that he should sound like, and that's the very similar to the Bradley Cooper that we kind of get used to in the movie.
Right.
And the guy who played, did you guys watch Friday Night Lights, the TV show at all? I freaking love that TV show.
Negative.
First, and second, the guy who Scott Porter plays Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and he's in he was Rex Racer in the Speed Racer movie.
mm-hmm.
He was in Prom Night, the scary movie.
He was Nightwing in Arkham Knight.
Yeah, he was. What else was he in? He was in Friday Night Lights, the TV show. He's like the quarterback who gets injured in the first episode, and you spend the whole season following the aftermath of what happens.
Is gameplay in the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale game, pretty much like other Telltale games where you're kind of walking around limited spaces? Because it seems like it's in space. Like, you could be flying spaceships and shit.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Whenever iPads became more and tablets became more of devices you could put high-powered stuff on, Telltale, high-powered quotes. Thanks, Chris.
My quotation marks.
They started to make Telltale games for them, which started to limit the stuff that they could do. So the Guardians of the Galaxy is more like watching a story unfold than it is actually playing the game sometimes, where you still make choices. Tales from the Borderlands was kind of like that too, and so I think was Minecraft story mode. You didn't really get to move around as much, but the story is more about what those are about.
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty general, you could describe almost all of the recent generation Telltale games, like The Walking Dead on, as that, because there's never a moment where you're out in the real world doing real things. It's always limited spaces, limited choices of interaction, lots of dialogue.
Yeah, but even, I mean, in this one, it's very
more
minimal. Yeah, it's very minimal.
Interesting.
There were times whenever it was press W to go forward, and that's about it. And I would press W to go forward.
Did that feel compelling to you? Was the story gripping enough to make up for the lack
The story was more, I mean, yeah, because it was like reading a comic book to me, where I was playing it and I was just oh yeah, it's a thing. I would do that instead of watching TV. I would go and I would play Guardians of the Galaxy, because I'd be yeah, this is what I'm doing right now. I played all of it. I finished it. So episode 4 got some tears at the end, toward the end of it, and then
That's solid.
And then episode 5, I definitely got a few tears during that one. There were some.
Do you want to do a little spoiler section here about that?
Well, I could spoil it if anyone is.
I probably won't play it, but I'm interested. So tell us about the overall arc, and then kind of tell us why 4 and 5 hit you so hard.
The arc it starts off with, ironically enough, you're fighting Thanos, and you kill Thanos, and then I know, right? You kill Thanos, and then you find this artifact, and then you don't know what it does, and then hence Guardians of the Galaxy type stuff, which is we got to find out what the artifact does. You find out it's a resurrection thing. You can use it to resurrect people. But again, you have to have a choice. So in order to resurrect people, it has to take life from other people too. So it's part of the choice. Should we destroy it? Should we get rid of it? There's another bad guy that comes in the whole time. But in episode 4, you spend the whole time kind of talking to the other Guardians. You play Peter Quill, Star-Lord. And you spend time talking to the other Guardians throughout all of the episodes. And in the second to last one, you have to make there's a couple choices that you have to make. And one of them is you're being chased by this giant rock worm monster thing in your ship. And Drax doesn't think you're going to make it. So Drax goes down and he's like, Peter Quill, you must open the airlock so I can jump out and sacrifice myself to save all of you, for you are my family. And I was just oh God. And I was just you could either not help him do it, or you could open up the airlock to let him do it. And he was begging you to let him do this. And I did. And I was just man, I love you, man. And I like press the button, like, and he like jumps out, and like I'm all like, oh. And then Gamora got all pissed off at me because she was like, you said you weren't gonna let anyone die. And then there's a whole thing like your mom. I mean, the story of Peter Quill, Star-Lord, is his mom died when he was a kid, and then he was abducted by an alien and taken into outer space, and so on and so forth. But but there's a lot of your relationship with your mother has to do with the plot line too. So a lot of that was like, really touching story moments.
And none of that is like actual canon though, right? Like this is its own thing. Yeah.
No, it was different. Yeah. I mean,
that's kind of cool though. It's always fun to have sort of a romp with comic book characters that doesn't necessarily matter in the end, but it's sort of like an alternate universe sort of what if kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge for comics. The alternate universe thing is what most of them are based off of.
It's like the story of the X-Men.
Yeah,
you know what would be cool? If we played with time a whole bunch.
Yeah, we just completely redid everything we've already done, and we called it an alternate universe, and everybody's cool with it because we accept it because it's comic books, right? Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can kill off a really important character that way, but then still have that important character come back later.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fine.
So one of the other big comic book collaborations that Telltale did was with Vertigo Comics. They did The Wolf Among Us. And there was this whole like Fables series that they sort of were riffing off of, excuse me. And that's the Telltale game that I was playing. First of all, how many of you have played The Wolf Among Us? Okay, Dan and Allison, did both of you finish it?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I felt very conflicted about this. And I felt very conflicted like right off the bat, basically, because The Wolf Among Us is basically a film noir translated into like storybook comics, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so there's a detective, and he's like on the gritty, grimy streets of dark nights and seedy individuals, right? That's like the whole thing. And within film noir, you always know that there's going to be some sort of like twist at the end where like the broad is the one who was the one who set up the whole thing, and it turns out to be a big con. And there's not... I was expecting a really big twist, and there was no twist in The Wolf Among Us. It was incredibly straightforward.
Did you play? So you finished it, right?
Yeah, I finished it.
Are you sure you paid attention to the very, very end then?
The whole bit with Narissa?
Yeah.
I think so. Wait, So explain to me the Narissa bit if I'm not understanding it.
Okay, so you know how... spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Put the spoiler alert music right here.
Okay, go, Dan.
Okay, so at the end, you know how she was talking about the ribbons and stuff that they wore?
Yeah, of course.
And you remember how they were talking about how you could like switch people's faces and stuff like that? Like there was like the whole, like she may have not been who she said she was?
No, I missed that.
Okay. If like at the end of it, basically what she alludes to is the fact that you were investigating the death of that wolfskin girl, right?
Yeah, Faith.
Right. Faith wasn't really Faith. She was Faith.
Banana.
Wait, so I totally missed that.
Yeah, that was the whole point, was like that they couldn't take off the ribbons without doing it, but so that she could escape, she had to make it look like somebody murdered this wolfskin girl. So instead, she killed the wolfskin girl so that you would investigate the thing and free everybody from the stuff.
So she killed somebody to get the investigation going?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that went way over my head.
Boom. Film noir.
I love how the twist...
You've just been film noir.
Story.
Wait, add some saxophones there.
It's the thing that I like totally missed. That's fabulous. Good for me. Well done.
But did you like it? Did you like the game?
Oh yeah. I thought the characters...
Did you like the atmosphere?
The atmosphere was incredible. Like the sound design in that game, I wish they had done, like the music that was there was really good. I wish that they had been a little bit more liberal with their use of music. I like the characters in it. I wish there was more of them so that there was a little bit more, room to sort of turn things around. Like that bit of, like the thing about Narissa is fine, but it doesn't really change the overall arc of the story. Like it basically the crooked man is the bad guy, and at the end of episode 2 you know that the Crooked Man is the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's no larger. I was really hoping. You know what I was pulling for?
What?
I was pulling for Snow to be like the secret evil person in all of it.
Oh, Snow White to be,
Yeah, because she keeps like in like the middle of important shit happening. She's always like, "Oh, I have to go take care of," or like, "I have to go answer the phone," or like, "I'm gonna make an appointment." You're like,
yeah.
So
that's Snow White, right?
Yeah, it's Snow White. So
Yeah.
I really wanted her to be like the secret puppet master who was like the power behind the throne, making Crooked Man do the things he was doing, but that didn't actually pan out at all.
Yeah, a big part of the story is the main character too, because he's Big B Wolf is his name, which surprise means he's the big bad wolf.
Yeah, and he was really compelling. I think the way that I played him was kind of more or less one-dimensional.
Did you play him as a good guy the whole time?
I played him as a good guy, and then I threw the bad guy down the well. I can't help it. I'm like morally bound to make.
Do you guys always play as the good guy?
I do.
No, never. No.
I try, like, sometimes I try to be the bad guy and I always end up swinging to the good guy. I'm like, oh, I feel bad.
Dude, it's like in Knights of the Old Republic, I'm always a Sith. I always choose the Sith options.
Really?
It's just more
like,
it's just more fun. You get force
I try, but then I
Yeah, I was a Sith too. It kind of depends on the game, I guess. I swing both ways with it.
Like, I try to be nice to the bad guys, and then I still end up being nice.
Allison, do you play the like evil or like the sort of like conflicted person on purpose, or is it just?
I think I'm just chaotic neutral as a whole.
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's always me.
All I care about is me.
So I really like just kind of getting both sides of the story sometimes. Sometimes I'll play it through one way and play it through the other way just so I can see both sides of it. But I also, I don't know. I don't like being too good because that gets boring. But I also I don't want to be a shitty person the whole game either.
And now you see that evil will always triumph because good is dumb.
So that's interesting. Chaotic neutral is your alignment. Chris, what's your alignment? What do you feel like you most closely align with?
I guess chaotic good. I don't know.
That's what I would say too.
So that's chaotic good. So you strive for the best in everything, no matter what the consequences.
But also in kind of like a mischievous way.
I guess kind of. That's a big question.
Listen, at the Gamebrew, we only deal with big questions.
That's a heavy question.
Only big Dungeons and Dragons themed questions.
No, but I'm actually interested, Chris. Chaotic good.
Yeah, I mean, that's my gut feeling, but I could probably be persuaded.
If I had to pin you with one, that's what I would pin you.
Cool.
Dan,
what?
Dan, what are you?
Lawful neutral, probably. Aggressively not caring about most things within the laws of regular stuff. Aside from Allison, who aggressively cares about herself above all things.
I am aggressive. So that's my
Ian,
thing. I'm not
you
passive.
are
a paladin.
Just say it. Yes,
I know.
Obviously.
What are you?
Paladin,
good.
obviously. Lawful good. I'm the most boring there is.
Yeah, I'm so boring. I'm just good because everybody says I should be good and stuff is good. People are
That's
good.
right.
It's good. All says it's good, so it's good.
What if I had said I was chaotic evil and I just started burning shit down? Like,
I mean,
Then you would just
murder
reveal
robot,
your
so
true
that would've made
murder
sense.
robot self.
Flames.
All right. Well, cool. If you have a Telltale game, oh no, wait, hold on. We're actually gonna transition in a different way this week, in a little bit of an unusual way.
We're gonna put the different transition music here.
That's right. This is gonna be a cool transition because Chris has what we would call an unpopular opinion. That's the subject for the second half. Folks. He has an unpopular
See what we
opinion
did there?
about Telltale's The Walking Dead, which blows my fucking mind. I cannot believe that you don't like this game.
Did this game win a bunch of awards?
Probably.
Yes, I think
because
so.
it deserved to.
And people seem to like it, huh?
They do.
Chris is honestly flabbergasted by the fact that other people liked this game.
Well,
We
so,
did say
there's a
chaotic
couple
good,
things.
right?
There's a couple things. Dude, all those people that liked it also watched the TV show. Does this have any connection to the TV show?
no,
Not at all,
has
other
no-
than just it has the
Oh.
same title.
A little bit.
Or
What
any
is his name?
characters?
What's his name?
The one
Or
that
it starts with a
left?
G. Starts with a G. His name is.
He wears a hat.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I think he leaves.
Glenn. His name
Glenn.
is Glenn.
Yeah,
Glenn.
Glenn.
Yes, Glenn.
So I believe Glenn's continuity carries over from the Telltale Games.
Oh, he
to
does.
The Walking
He
Dead
does.
TV show. Yes.
So
I
maybe
believe-
because he spoiler, he leaves in the first episode because he has to go find his friends. So that's kind of okay. That's cool that they kind of did that. There was a
So
couple
what,
issues.
What the
for
hell
me.
is your problem, Chris? Is what I'm trying to
Tell us what's wrong with you.
Well,
son
first,
of a bitch.
so I like story-based games,
Uh-huh.
but I was getting bored in between the parts. Like I feel like they expected me to pay complete attention to it the entire time, and I can't do
How
that all the time
dare
because I legitimately have ADD, and so like I was just getting bored, and then sometimes there would be things like, oh, make a decision. You only have 5 seconds. Go. So like I was waiting for the gameplay the entire time because I'm like very gameplay focused.
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. I just need to clarify. So you're
Sure.
saying that like what you found frustrating was that it would tell you like in the moment like you have to make a decision right now, and you were unable to do that the way you wanted because you were waiting to like have an opportunity to like kill a bunch of zombies.
Yeah. So okay. This is my good example. Episode 2 begins with you running out of food, and you have like this kind of fortress that like you've made at a motel, and you're running out of food. And to me, the better game would have been to be able to go out of your little fortress and acquire food, and like still being able to interact with the people that you have to interact with, and like having like like a faction. Like you sometimes if you are with one faction, you'll gain like credibility with them, and you'll lose some with another one, kind of like KOTOR.
yeah.
Like that would be a better game for me. That's the game that I would prefer. Does that make sense?
I think so. What you're saying is that you felt forced to do things that you didn't want to do, essentially.
Yeah, and they didn't feel natural for me. And like if I wanted to play a game more like this, I would prefer to have a game like Uncharted, which is very similar in a way that you're kind of making
On
decisions on rails, but there's a lot more action to it, and you get to participate in the action a lot more instead of just making small decisions here and there.
Well, and this is where I think if you continue playing it, which you don't have to, but if you continue playing it, the small decisions do stack up.
Sure.
Like it's like because you don't think about it sometimes, where it's just like, oh, in Guardians, there was like one time where I was just like, you know what, Rocket, you're right. This is a good thing. And then Gamora got pissed at me. And then like 2 episodes later, she was like, and that's why whenever you side with Rocket all the goddamn time, I get so mad at you. And I'm like, I don't side with Rocket. I guess I side with Rocket all the goddamn time. Shit.
Well, that's like your significant other bringing up that one time you fought about something 3 months ago and getting mad at you for it, and just bringing that into the nothing fight. Why?
Dude,
Why?
That shit is real. That's
that
life,
shit's
man.
annoying.
That's life. Chris, how many episodes in did you get?
I got halfway through the second episode, so like I was still trying to.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get to it, but like I don't see myself trying. Like this is not a game that I find myself
Compelled to want to play.
compelled to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you, and this is the really interesting question about Telltale Games, and I'm so glad we're talking about this. Have you played any other Telltale games, Chris?
I have not. This is my first one. And
sorry.
I think part of the thing is like I don't have a connection to The Walking Dead, so like I'm not like invested. So like I feel like I might have been more invested in Guardians of the Galaxy or Batman or whatever, but like there's other ways that I can enjoy those things anyways. So like it's like being part of a comic book but not actually really having a choice in the comic book.
When I played The Walking Dead the first time, or I guess the only time
You've played
I played
it through
once.
multiple. Okay,
No, I haven't played it once.
Played it multiple times.
That was a big lie. The time I played it with my roommate or one of my roommates, and we kind of just viewed it as like, oh hey, we've got some time. You want to sit down and play The Walking Dead? And so we'd sit there and we'd make decisions together. Just be like sitting there, just being like, what do we say? Let's say this one, and we pick that. And one of the newer things that they put on is there's like this group play option you can do. That was in Guardians. I didn't do it because I'm stuck at my computer because that's where I downloaded it. I should have downloaded it on the Xbox so I could do it with my roommates. Damn it. But the where you can like vote on decisions, and whichever decision gets the most votes, that's like the one you go with. So you could play it as a group and like make these decisions there, which kind of adds a little element to it.
And I feel like I could probably get into that more. Because, I mean, it is sometimes cool to just sit down and kind of enjoy a choose-your-own adventure in a way.
And that's what I think both the advantage and the downfall of Telltale Games is that they're not video games that give you
I would argue they're almost not video games.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. But they're not video games in the best possible way. They're focused on making it a story, and it's a story you can interact with and make decisions about. And I think that's brilliant. But they're not. It's not like an immediate feedback, like you're leveling up or you just got to kill or you're getting points. It's not what it's about. And I think that's actually incredibly important for the evolution of video games to move beyond just sort of like base sort of lizard brain, like I got more points, I did more things, the little bar is moving up, I'm the next level. Instead, it's actually storytelling. And that's something that video games don't necessarily always do well.
And there's a couple examples of games that are kind of similar to this that I really do enjoy, like Gone Home.
Gone Home, yeah, great example.
To the Moon.
To the Moon. What Remains of Edith Finch. Undertale.
Like more walking simulator type things. And I think part of that is that I think actually part of the reason I don't like it is that there's a lot more freedom in those games. You can do it at your own pace, whereas these will just throw things at you sometimes. And
I feel like you could also argue that there's less freedom in those games because it doesn't matter what you do in Gone Home, the story is the same every time. In The Walking Dead, in The Wolf Among Us, like, yeah, maybe like the general arc is similar, but you're a lot of the times choosing what characters live and what die and bigger outcomes in terms of the story.
Sure. And like the other thing for me, I'm one of those people that like I used a lot of guides when I was playing games when I was younger. So like I try to have the best possible outcome sometimes. And if I don't have an outcome I like, in some games I'll go back and redo it. So I think that's also part of the issue too.
Yeah, because there is no perfect route in all of these games.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
To my knowledge, like, people die, bad things happen, and I think that's really, I think what Telltale has done well is elevate that kind of storytelling. We're like, you know what, the good guy doesn't always win, or really just like the good guy winning isn't always perfect.
Yeah, it's messy.
I feel like these are kind of like Until Dawn is a good example of more of a free roamy kind of version of these, where you get to wander around, you still make the choices, you still get different endings. People die, things happen.
Things happen.
And I feel like, Chris, if you haven't played that one, maybe you'd like that one if you don't mind scary games.
Tell us about Until Dawn. What's it for? Who's in it? How does it work?
I'm pretty sure it's only on PS4.
Yep,
yeah,
PS4.
And it uses like motion capture to get the characters, and they look really good. Like Hayden Panettiere is one of the characters in it, and literally looks like her. It kind of freaks me out. She's in a bathtub scene, and I'm like, I remember you from Heroes. You were young. This is awkward.
Isn't Rami Malek in that? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He's face captured in it. Like, it's a really good game. It's like playing a B horror movie in a lot of ways at the start. And
terrifying also.
It kind of snowballs. It's like it's this game where you think you know what's happening, and then something else happens, and you have to make split decisions, kind of like Saw movies-esque, where it's like, kill me or don't, or do this, and depending on what you do, the characters live or die, and you end up starting with, I think it's like 7 teenagers. Well, they're like college level,
College students, bro.
Somewhere in there.
Go to a cabin in the woods, man.
People, and it's like your basic cabin in the woods horror movie, and what your decisions make them live or die. And it's very cool, but it's definitely a different kind of game from these. Like, these are very structured, very linear in a lot of ways. I get what he's saying, where you're forced to do certain things, where in that you can kind of wander around a world that feels like you could really be walking in it. Whereas these, I feel like, are more, I can't, or at least in my game, I couldn't wander around through the whole environment that I wanted to and kind of feel like I'm in this game. I was more reading this game, or like you said, like a choose your own adventure comic or something, more than anything.
That's cool. It's an interesting comparison to make, especially given the tone of that versus the tone of most of the Telltale games is only like mostly serious. The Walking Dead is pretty serious.
Yes.
Super serial.
The Guardians of the Galaxy is not serious, but it still has serious moments, though. So
like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like one of the great things about The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, was actually that the characters were so incredibly compelling to me. Especially the little girl. Chris is giving me a like shruggy face emoji over
He's
here.
like, meh. But it's also like, it's...
The only strong opinion I had was fuck Larry.
Dude, fuck Larry. Everybody feels the same about.
But Larry gets his, man. You gotta.
I haven't.
You gotta play. You gotta.
Thank you for letting me know that. That makes me feel good. I don't have to get there now.
Actually, no, that's not. I mean, it depends. Like that's there's.
I get to make that choice. Well, I mean, I know what choice I would make.
You just wait. Just play the game.
Oh. Apparently, I was talking to Dan. Apparently, I made a choice that was not normal.
Oh yeah.
In the first episode.
So in the first episode, you remember when you were locked in the store?
Yeah.
And you have to like choose who to help?
Yeah.
Who did you help?
I want to say whoever the lady was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I saved Doug.
You saved who?
Doug, the guy.
Doug.
Doug.
I connected
Big friendly
with him.
Doug.
He was like an IT guy. Like he liked computers, and like I could get into that. Like I connected with him. That was that was.
You know what moment I really remember from The Walking Dead early on? Do you remember when you're on the farm? This is like the very beginning of the
first farm.
That's
the first farm or the second farm.
The first farm. And you show up and they're like, yeah, it's cool you're here. We could use your help like doing some stuff around. You're like, okay. And you're like fixing the fence and like doing this and doing
Chris,
that.
stop listening. Chris, stop listening.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And there's like, you have to make a choice between one person or
that
the other.
Dumbass kid.
Eaten by zombies. Yeah, the dumbass kid.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And I froze. I remember freeze. And like, it was like, do this or do that or don't do anything. And I was like, And then like, I didn't realize there was a time mechanic going on. I was like, okay, we'll eat them both. Don't fucking wait for shit. Okay, I'm really sorry. Everybody died.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Shit.
Yeah, that was huge.
He got so mad.
Yep.
Like,
and then you get kicked off the farm.
Get off my farm.
Anyway. All right, well, cool. I thought that was a pretty interesting experiment to do a bunch of Telltale games. So, Gamebrew listeners, if you have a Telltale game that you love or you hate that you want to talk about, you can hit us up on Facebook, on Instagram, and by email at the Gamebrew.
Or if you have a group of games that you want us to play and want us to all try them out.
Yeah, that's good too.
Let us know. We'll grab a bunch of them and check them out. If you want to hear which one the best Mass Effect, each one will play one and.
No.
Okay.
No. Chris will just send us games that Chris will shit on. That's basically what.
What's wrong? I didn't shit on Mass Effect.
Everyone can agree that Mass Effect 2 was the best Mass Effect, though. I mean,
I disagree.
What is your favorite Mass Effect?
All right,
really like
and this is gonna fade out into the.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the Gamebrew Podcast, episode 31. Let's check in with the beer. How is the Samuel Smith Nut Brown Ale sitting on the tongue, gentlemen?
Nutty.
Brown.
It's the worst descriptor. Like, people can read literally on the label that is a nut, but you're like, well, it's a pretty standard brown ale.
But like,
it's
I think
a
it's
little bit nuttier.
I think it's supposed to be. It's not just like they're describing the color of brown.
It's
that
nut brown.
Nut colored. So that's why it's
the
a
color
nut
of
brown
Well,
ale.
I think what he's saying is I can't drink it because I would die, and I could have told you that about this beer.
Like, exactly. Describe to Allison something about the beer that
Yeah.
she doesn't already know. By the fact that it's called a nut brown ale. You'd be like, well, it tastes like Samuel, really, if I had to say.
I mean, that's just fucking fancy. It's called Samuel Smith.
The
and
bottles
that's like
are pretty fancy.
It's just like we've got in America, we've got Sam Adams, but in the
Samuel.
Great Britain, they have Samuel Smith.
What game would you pair it with?
Of
Are you guys
Yorkshire.
doing that again?
Oh shit!
That's a good thing to describe it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Why and what game would you pair it with?
Oh yeah, that was a thing we would do in the past.
In the past.
Thank you for the harp.
Ooh. How about a Total War game?
What?
Ooh, like
Really?
Because it's a slow. It's not something you just drink and have
You don't
real
slam
quickly.
it?
You have some time. You need some time to really enjoy it.
This is a beer I would drink with RTSs. Like I would like I would
Not
play,
StarCraft. That's too fast.
Not StarCraft. That doesn't count. That's a competitive RTS.
No, I
I'm
would say
talking
like a 4X, like
Yeah.
Civ, or like
that.
Total War, or
Oh, I dig
Crusader Kings, or
I
that kind of group.
completely agree with you, and here's why. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to elaborate. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's an RTS beer. Okay, good.
But
I
you
like
have
that.
to start. You have to start in the British Isles,
Speaking of Chris's unpopular opinion about The Walking Dead, the Telltale game,
or who knows? Maybe it's a popular opinion.
it is not. No, Chris, you do not get to determine that that's mainstream. You're wrong. What are some other unpopular opinions that we might hold about popular video games?
I want to give Chris a break. I want to talk about one of my favorite Zelda games because I think it's the best Legend of Zelda game. And
Ooh,
I know
careful. You're like.
Oh, I think I know what you're about to say.
I think that Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is the best Legend of Zelda game.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Majora's Mask, and I was going to really argue
No,
with
Majora's
you.
Mask is great. Majora's Mask is a
Majora's
great
Mask
game.
is fine, but it's also
It's
like
okay.
Majora's Mask is the Dark Souls of the Zelda series.
Well, but no, Majora's Mask was hey, you have 6 months to create a game, go for it, and they used all the assets from like it wasn't 6 months.
Was it really just 6 months? Because
It wasn't
if it's
6
so,
months.
that's really good.
It was like 16 months, but still.
Yeah, it was,
That's
but it was still
pretty
like they had a
impressive,
limited
actually,
time to put it out, which is why that was good. But Wind Waker is the best Legend of Zelda game.
Okay, make
I don't
your
know if
case
it's the
because I
best.
actually don't know I don't know enough
So-
about Wind Waker to fight you on this.
So, Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is the best one because one, everyone talks about how Breath of the Wild is it's open world. Oh, it's really cool. Yeah, fucking Wind Waker was open world too. It was just there was a boat and you had to sail around that open world. So, why was that? Why is it different? What, Chris?
There was nothing in that water. There was one thing in every cell of that map.
Yeah,
So
there was.
like there was.
But you could still travel to all the different places.
You could, and you're right. It was open world, but it wasn't as densely packed as Breath of the Wild was. And I don't know if I love the whole series, so I'm not going to be like, oh, this was the best, this was the worst. There's going to be ones that are like
I'll tell you what the
favorites and
worst
least
one was.
favorites. But I wouldn't say that. I don't think Wind Waker's the best.
I think. It's
I don't think the
best
story is as
All right,
good as other
hold
ones.
on. Dan, finish making your point. So
Okay, so
just,
that one.
just by the fact that it's open world doesn't necessarily. Make
Well,
it the
one
best.
no, but it was open world at a time whenever like people were like it wasn't a huge deal and people like started freaking out about it. I love the cell shading. Like I think that kind of brought the old Zelda
Did you love
games.
it immediately?
I did. I loved it immediately because it made it
That was a big
cartoony
thing.
and fun because that's what the original ones were. They weren't like they were like pixelated things. It's not like
yeah, but that's what I guess that's where I would disagree with you because it was cartoony, so you could kind of interpret it how you wanted to interpret it. Like if you wanted to think of Zelda,
Interpret.
you heard me. That's what I'm saying though. Like it could go either way because it was just pixels. Like you could think of it as a very serious thing or as a not very serious thing.
Well, I like artistic liberties in games, like not necessarily making something HD gorgeous because you can, but making it more kind of like interesting and artsy. And I feel like that was not just cartoony for the sake of being cartoony, but the way it was cel shaded was really kind of pretty in an artsy way.
And it holds up really well.
Yeah, it does.
And it was something that looked pretty that wasn't demanding on the hardware. So like that was really kind of brilliant that they did that.
Have you tried to play the Twilight Princess again?
Which one?
The Legend of Zelda, the Twilight Princess.
No, like, so, okay, are you talking about the GameCube
Cube
version,
or
the
Wii?
the Wii version, or the remastered version?
Well, the remastered version, I guess. I don't know. I tried to play it, and it was like, I don't know, it was like really clunky, I felt like, and blocky.
I liked the remastered version.
Yeah, it was okay. All right, that's fine. I thought it was really clunky and blocky, but I can still go and play.
Have you played Ocarina of Time recently?
It's
clunky and blocky.
It's clunky and blocky. Yeah. But still, like, I mean, I think that the Wind Waker, it's just like I like the story. I think the story is really compelling.
Is it different from your normal Zelda story?
Explain your normal Zelda story.
Yeah.
I mean, basically every The Legend of Zelda game is like, Ganon is bad. You don't have any power. Go find all these tools and then kill Ganon.
Well, no, it's not different in that format, but like I think the story in that it's a continuation of Ocarina of Time is interesting.
I think that was a good unpopular opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think many people are going to agree.
Yeah.
None of us would agree, so there's that. That was a good call.
I can't
Jesus.
agree, but I can't disagree.
How about you
I guess
fuck
is where
off,
I'm at.
guys?
Like I'm very like on the fence on it. Dan thinks you're on the fence about that.
Who thinks I'm on the fence? What?
I was thinking like a Telltale. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Dan. I got it.
All right, who else has an unpopular opinion that we can ruthlessly tear apart?
I have so many, I don't even know where to start.
Let's pick one.
Your fiercest one.
I'll pick the one that I feel like you're all going to disagree with, which is I don't care for Destiny 2.
No, I mean, I feel like that's actually completely
That's
fair.
a pretty
Actually, I
popular
think that's a
opinion,
pretty
actually.
popular opinion. Yeah.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh,
Yeah,
it was so hot, and I refused to play it, and
hot.
everyone got so mad at me that I thought this was a super unpopular opinion.
Did we?
No, I didn't know you guys back when it first came out. I don't think.
I mean,
Oh.
I would play it if someone else played it, but like I don't have a.
Ian's been
Need-
playing it more
Oh,
recently.
you've been playing it? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'll jump
so
on.
when
I haven't been on it.
when I bought Destiny 2, I bought like the super mega edition with all of the expansion packs, knowing that basically the arc for Destiny games is that they come out and they're great for like a week and a half, and then you're kind of done with what's going on. You just have to wait for the trickle feed of expansions. And I liked the first one enough that I sort of just bought into the second one, and I've been so happy that I did that actually, because every time a new expansion drops out, it's like, oh look, free game. I'll go play for, another 6 to 12 hours and then get bored of it again, and I'll come back when the next expansion comes out, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't make this as good as it could have been is my big problem with Destiny 2. Is that there was so much they could have done, but they were so all over the place, and they never decided what they wanted this game to be, that it feels like it has no goal, because it's not campaign driven, because there's not enough campaign like to merit it as something you're going to story-based play and love the story and have the story eat up 15-20 hours and be happy with it.
Which is funny, because there's arguably 3 times the amount of story there was from Destiny.
Dan, 3 times 0 is still 0.
Oh, you're right. Damn it. I'm not good at math.
I don't like Undertale. So people were saying that Undertale was the game of the year in 2015. They were saying it was better than The Witcher 3.
It's a different game. It's a different game.
It's not.
It's a different game.
So
but it's Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Explain what Undertale is.
Undertale is a 2D, like Pokemon-esque, Earthbound. Like you explore stuff and you basically follow this quest. The thing about the game is that you can play it two ways. One is you can actually like kill stuff and fight monsters, or you can try and solve things with your words and problem solving, which is interesting, and it makes you play the game differently. It's basically kind of like, see, Chris, this is why you don't like it, is because it's kind of like a Telltale game, but with the Pokemon-esque Earthbound skin, you know?
Sure.
Why don't you like it? I mean,
so I've played about an hour of it, and I just like nothing about it. Like, I played it solely because other people were like, it's so great, you should try it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I tried it, and there was just nothing compelling for me about it. Like, it didn't do anything for me. I didn't connect with anything, I guess.
Here's the problem with this whole trying it. I'm going to try it. Games like Telltale Games and games like Undertale, you have to spend some time with to actually to connect with the stuff. And for sometimes it's like, if you don't connect with it immediately, you're like, nope, F it, I'm done, I'm out, I'm not going to do this anymore. But yeah, it takes a little bit to like get into the story. So
I think the way that I frame this in my head is like Telltale Games, Undertale, things like that. It's more like reading a book than it is like playing a video game. And when you open a book, even really amazing books, they don't really all the time care if you like them or not. You have to choose to invest in it if it's going to have any meaning for you.
Sure, but is a good book going to have to make you do that?
A good book could, yeah.
Maybe. So beyond just like the story not grabbing you, maybe, is there anything about like the functionality of the game or anything that you don't like?
I mean, just it's interesting that they chose that format for the game. Like, they're going back to NES graphics, not just like Super
SNES.
Like, yeah, like that's like SNES graphics are kind of like in vogue right now. But like going back that far, it seems like
pretty soon
it's a serious choice.
Pretty soon it's gonna be the blocky like PS1 characters with stubs for arms, and that's gonna be hilarious.
God, I hope
Sorry.
not.
well, I mean, it was made by one dude. It's not like it was made by a giant. It was made in Game Maker's. What?
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, and they both are good games.
Well, hold on. Let Chris finish his point. So, Chris, you were saying like something about the aesthetic of it.
Just like the aesthetic, like I think it was an obvious choice. So, like, I mean, he was, and like I can appreciate what he's trying to say with his game, and I feel like that's the big thing. Is like I appreciate what he's trying to say, but like it doesn't do it for me. I want to be in on the joke. You know what I mean? But like I don't get it.
Yeah. I think. Two things. Not everybody has to like everything. There is no,
No, everybody has to like everything. Damn it.
Objective, right? But I think that there are certain experiences in life and in video games and in books and in art that are not easy. And just because, like, I don't want to say not easy, like that are not easy to like, that are not easy to enjoy, and that doesn't mean that they don't have value.
Sure. And I was also thinking about this, like, so, when you're in like middle or high school and you read a book and you're like, I don't want to read this book and it's shit and I hate this book.
Yeah.
And you say that about like Fahrenheit 451, and then you go back to read Fahrenheit 451 and you're like, this book is fucking amazing. Why did I not like this book?
Yeah, sure.
I feel like that might happen with some of these games for me. Like when I get like in the right frame of mind for them, I might like them. But like if I'm like doing it not because I want to, but like other people say I should, or I should because of the podcast, or like what, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a book report.
Oh god, I have to write a book
you
report
got
on
an
Catcher in
F
the Rye.
because you only read the first 1.5 chapters.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, I do hear you. I definitely hear you.
What's your unpopular opinion?
let me shit on it.
I haven't played a Grand Theft Auto game that I've enjoyed since Grand Theft Auto 1.
Like that top-down Grand Theft Auto?
What? Excuse me, sir. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay.
You didn't enjoy our times on 5?
Yeah, what the hell?
It was fine. Here's the thing. I think that the Grand Theft Auto games are, I don't know. I can see why everybody thinks they're good, but I don't like them. It bothers me to live in a space where the characters are simultaneously so well developed and so shitty most of the time. You know what I mean? Like, there aren't a lot of objectively like good people in Grand Theft Auto games. I don't know, like I don't like what it turns other people into.
What do you mean? Like other people, other NPCs, or other
no,
people?
like
other people?
other human beings. Like I hate watching someone else play a Grand Theft Auto game and like run over people on the street or just wantonly murder people. Or like, do you remember when 3 came out and you could just like hammer on people with a bat on the ground and it would just like keep like squishing and go, like you could just do that forever? Like I distinctly remember watching kids at my school do this and thinking like, there is something about this that is wrong. Like, why would you develop a toy that pulls out the worst characteristics in people?
Maybe he wouldn't like Westworld.
Well, he might not like Westworld. Or he might love Westworld because of the themes which it presents.
Yeah. Do you feel the same way about Red Dead Redemption? And
that's an interesting question, Chris.
Because they're the same game.
It's the same thing, just with horses. With horses
and revolvers.
Horses, revolvers, there's slutty girls, there's whole sorts of stuff.
For some reason, I actually really liked Red Dead Redemption.
I think I know why.
Game. Yeah, go.
I think you probably feel that way because it's not current. Whereas the environment that Grand Theft Autos are placed in, although they aren't modern society necessarily, they are very similar to this time. And so it feels more real and feels like something that could actually be happening, that person could actually be doing. Whereas putting it into the past, into like that
spaghetti
kind of
western type.
Yeah, spaghetti western kind of era makes it more story and more like playing a book, if you will,
right.
and the story in that way, and less real probably. Psychology.
Yeah, maybe. I also wonder if John Marston's arc is a little bit more straightforward than the rest of the Grand Theft Auto arcs. Like, there's a very clear sort of like revenge and redemption story.
Well, you mean there's actually a story because
yeah, I mean, like, whereas in the Grand Theft Auto games, especially, 5, there's like, you go be like a psychopath for a little while. Just like murder people because, shit on the wall. And like, there's no, I don't know, it didn't seem to be a lot of sense to it, I guess.
Well, Grand Theft Auto as a game is really good. There's
objectively it's very good.
Objectively it's very good because it's like there's all these different portions of it which are good. It is a driving game where you can just murder people if you want to, but you don't have to do that. You're making a choice to do that kind of stuff. I think we talked about that before in our morality video games.
I thought it was like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, yeah.
But I guess what I hate about it is that it feels like the game is designed to reward you for bad action.
Okay, so then why did you buy Grand Theft Auto 5 if you felt this way?
Because,
to play with your buddies?
To play with my buddies, but also because like generally they're really well reviewed all the time, and I'm always like, okay, maybe this will be the one that really.
So you like it, but you hate that you like it.
No, I don't. I don't really like it. Like I want to like it, and then I end up not liking it. And that happened for 3 for me. That happened for 4. That happened for 5. I never played 2, and the first one was fun because there was no story.
Because there was no. It was literally just driving a car around.
Sandbox. Yeah.
Sandbox.
Yeah, but that's how I feel. I also hate the control system for anything but the driving or flying in those games. Like, being a person walking around in those games is incredibly painful for me. I hate, like, shooting in those games is fucking awful. I don't know how people deal with it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I actually told my dad that he would probably like Grand Theft Auto as a game if I could just cut off everything except for the fact that it's a city environment he can drive in. So if there was a way that I could take everything out, my dad would love it. But with everything,
Like the Assassin's Creed history type thing.
yeah,
Like what they did in their newest game.
exactly. Like if I could just put him in this game, like he would buy a console, buy that game, and buy a adaptable steering wheel pedal set that you can get if they still make those for them, and he would play the
they make
shit.
Oh, they make those.
So he would play the shit out of this if
it
there was any
just
way.
a driving game.
If it was just a driving game, but because all that other stuff is in there, I really don't think he'd like it, and I think he'd be the same way as Ian on it, where it's a good game and like the way it's made is good, but it's I get what he's saying.
He should check out The Crew.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
pretty decent driving
Oh
game.
yeah.
It's
Can
I will
I
note
say
this. Hey Dad, because you listen to all of these. The Crew. There you go.
there you go. It's in there. Can I say another unpopular opinion?
Yeah, go down.
Sonic games are shit.
Like all of them ever.
Like
in the
all
history
of them.
ever.
I hate Sonic games. They're stupid. Like you run from left to right, and like it's kind of
All
like
side
Well,
scrollers.
so Mario
Continue.
games are stupid now.
well, no, but it's like no, because like a lot of the stuff in it, I kind of equate it to the. You play any Mario Maker stuff at all?
I haven't, but I've seen videos. Of
Okay,
it.
so
I've
you know
seen the
how there's-
ridiculous videos of
Yeah,
them.
so you know how there's Mario Maker levels where it's like you don't even have to do anything. It's just like people made a level where it's like you just go through it and it's like, oh, look, stuff happens. That's kind of like what Sonic games are. Except for the new ones, which are just bad games
Telltale
without there being any sort of God damn it.
So,
Sorry.
Dan, what Sonic games have you played?
I've played all of the early Sonic games. I played all the Sonic Adventure games. I played I've tried the Sonic Adventure games. I tried Sonic Boom. That game is basically unplayable though, so I don't know how anyone could. There's
oh man,
the
that's funny.
there's a new Sonic game coming out for like the anniversary for it, and I know people are super hype about it, but it's like Mario Maker but with Sonic stuff, which is not better. That's worse.
I don't. I remember enjoying the Sonic games when I was a wee lad. I couldn't say whether they're any good now though. I haven't played them in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't played him since I was little either, so I don't have much opinion here.
I didn't even like them then. Like I
Oh,
like
I liked them then.
I'd start playing them and they were just like meh. It's
I mean,
okay.
you gotta jump at the right time. You gotta fly with tails. Like there were
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
There-
I feel like it's kind of a different kind of game than Mario is a platformer. Sonic is like a pre-endless runner, endless runner almost.
It's a platformer.
You know what I mean? It is a
Is it a
platformer.
platformer though?
It is a platformer, but
It
it's
is.
like the goal is really like how fast and with how many rings can you make it through a level, not can you make it through the level.
It's can you make it through the level plus other things.
Did you hate the Donkey Kong levels where
Yeah.
you rode on things? Like we rode on the rhinos
Donkey Kong
and stuff?
Country and
I did hate those levels too. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then yes, you hate Sonic, and I get that, and that's an
Thank you.
unpopular
Oh,
opinion.
do you hate the
Oh,
character
Allison,
Sonic?
thank you for telling me what I like. That's
You're
really-
welcome.
It's
You're
great.
welcome.
I wasn't aware, and now I am. So thank you.
That's what I'm here
Womansplaining.
Well, she womansplained me.
Any other unpopular
Yes.
opinions that we want to air out in this safe space?
I think
that we've played
Allison
here?
has a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to say the one you want. I'm going to say a real quick one first, though. Aerith
Okay.
from Final Fantasy VII is a horrible character, and I'm glad she died.
Oh man, that's tough.
There we
You
go.
just left.
I
You
wish,
just
know.
left.
I wish Will was here because
I
he has so
know.
many good opinions on these.
He does.
things.
He's very opinionated. It's funny. Ian's still not. He's still not
I'm
right.
sorry,
Still
come
mad.
back.
He's just mad. He's
Will
leaving.
somebody call him and tell him I'm sorry? But it's
You're not
true.
sorry though. That's
I know.
The problem.
The hell is wrong with you, Allison?
You
I-
can't even respond.
He
because his
can't-
I know.
His
He doesn't
headphones
put his
are on, so
headphones-
I think he pulled his headphones out of his computer, which is why.
Okay, so look. I'm a horrible person for this, and I know it. Okay, I'm owning it. But I think she was terrible and obnoxious, and it was like not as bad as Navi from Legend of Zelda.
Listen,
Like, I didn't want to swat her with a fly swatter, but it happened in the game, and I was okay with it.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Ian
she was-
actually broke his headphones. That's
Oh my god, you did! I feel so
Did you actually break your
bad.
headphones?
Can't get it back together. Okay, so that's it for this week, everybody. Next week we'll be back with me, Chris, and Will, and Dan,
And
and
Allison's been booted off the show.
We'll bring back.
I will. No,
Love you guys, bye.
wait. So tell me. I mean, so you said like a lot of terrible things just then. But,
Hurtful things.
yeah, hurtful things. But like you said, she was awful. But like, what about her to you is awful?
She was okay, so she was super one-dimensional. When I'm playing an RPG, I want a developed character, and she was just like, she was nothing to me. She was super over the top, cheery, and that was it. And okay, and
Allison, I have a question.
yes,
You love anime, right?
I love anime. I hate some characters.
Okay, because in anime, there's literally billions of situations where there's that
yeah,
character who
yeah.
is like a super overly cheery person, and you know what always happens to that character is they either get like murdered or like slapped around a bunch, and then
Or
either turn
into the
evil
bad
or
guy.
die. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So Aerith died. That's cool.
Okay.
Okay, no, but like really, I don't know. I don't like that necessity in a plot of having this basic character, and I don't like it in animes either. When it happens, it usually gets on my nerves. Where it's like there's so much more you can do than just have this basic character drive your story. Because I don't know, give her.
So you're pissed off at her because she's being used as a plot device and she's not really a character.
Yeah,
She doesn't have depth.
there's no
Okay.
depth. There's nothing to her.
That makes
She-
more sense to me.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, that's what I meant. Are we good now?
No,
So
we're
We're
not.
not. We're
No,
really not.
good.
So, like-
no, but you know, all wounds heal in time. So
He's crying a little bit. It's okay.
Do you
It's okay.
understand why I don't have friends now?
So that's really interesting. I have never heard someone who was so angry about Eris who wasn't angry about her death instead of the fact
That's what I'm
that she
saying.
was
I know
one-dimensional.
that is a really, really unpopular
It's a good one.
opinion. And
Yeah, that's a good one. That is
Yeah,
that's very strong.
it's got a lot of people to dislike me, actually.
You said that was a
Unfriended.
little one. That's a lie.
Well, I thought it was going to be short and sweet, and you guys would hate me, and we move on.
We do hate you. Not moving on.
Well, this kind of ties into something for me. Like, I've only spent about 3 or 4 hours with Final Fantasy games.
Uh-huh.
But
Meh.
that makes
So
sense
meh.
to me now that I
Like-
know more about you. You don't like the
You don't like
basic
story.
No, I mean, I do like story. I just like story
If
in
it's just
the way that I
story.
like it.
If it's just a story game, I feel like it's not for you.
And that's what most of those RPGs in Final
RPGs
Fantasy
Well,
are
in
like.
that-
But
that
hold
way.
on. Remember that Chris said he really liked To the Moon and also what was the other
Gone Home.
Gone Home.
I liked Firewatch.
Wait, how did you like
haven't
To the
played this.
Moon?
I love To the Moon.
I'm so
Yeah.
confused about your
I'm an
preferences.
enigma.
The hand motion was the best part of that. Enigma.
imagine a double dream hand situation is what you did.
Part of it is I just don't feel like I have the time. I ain't got time for that. Like, there's other things I would rather play with that invested time. Like, in a Final Fantasy game, I feel like you have to invest like 60 to 100 hours into it.
You
I don't
do.
got time for that.
You're right. You're
I
right.
don't got
Ain't
time for
nobody
that.
got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
And I mean, at this point, like, is Final Fantasy 15 really going to compel me to play it?
No.
Like what? Like it? Like, I'm sure they've evolved the
Battle system.
gameplay and battle system.
They really haven't though.
It's the same.
So it's
well,
the same, so like then I probably won't.
Yeah.
get into
Well,
it, right?
no.
Like,
Well, no, you wouldn't. I don't think you would, because the only reason. Here's the thing about Final Fantasy games: people keep playing Final Fantasy games because they're Final Fantasy games. You know, where it's
which is such a shame. Like that's what really depresses me about them, is that like I feel like that cookie cutter sort of generic version of Final Fantasy was the best in like 7, 8, and 9. And then they should have done something completely different for 10, and 10 was fine. And I know people are out there that like 10, but at that point I was like, okay, well, Final Fantasy 10 is essentially the same as Final Fantasy 9, which is essentially the same as Final Fantasy 8. Like, all of these things were good. It's just so samey. Yeah. I feel the same way about the Call of Duty games. Same. Like, they're incredibly well-refined shooters, but it's so much the same.
I mean, they tried that. They tried that, like, after 10, they did 10-2, and that was kind of a mess. They tried to do something different, and that didn't work great. And then they just revamped the battle system, really, is the big thing that they changed. But there's something about, like, those old school JRPGs where that slow battle system was kind of the thing about them that made them unique. So as soon as they took that out in, like, the newer Final Fantasies, I feel like, although they're more like Kingdom Hearts fight style now, it's not quite Final Fantasy anymore. So I would argue that it's not really cookie cutter anymore.
I haven't played 15, so...
Oh, you should play 15. Because it's a Final Fantasy game.
If, Gamebrew listeners, you have an unpopular opinion that you want to get out there in the world so you can get it off your chest, you can let us know on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at The Gamebrew. We hope you will.
Or you could just shit on us for our opinions. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say, you can disagree with us.
You're probably going to do that.
I feel a lot of hate coming my way. I'm going to disable social media.
Yeah, we can't protect you, Allison. Do not.
Yeah, if you have thoughts on if you have words for Allison about Eris, we're just going to send you direct links to her address and phone number.
She lives in Maine.
Thank you.
So I think that's it for this week. I haven't
heard anything from our Australian friend.
I honestly haven't heard anything from Will or from the mandatory fund commissioner in the past couple weeks, so I don't know. Maybe they're together or something?
They were sent on a very hush-hush mission by the CIA. There's a lot of politics involved. I can't really talk about it, but rest assured they'll be back soon.
Okay, all right. Hope so.
All right, well, that's it for the podcast this week. We'll see you at episode 32. Bye.
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 But you have to start in the British Isles, particularly in Yorkshire, to drink this.
Whenever you play, you have to. I'm going I have 18 different British accents that I've been using on this whole podcast. So.
They're all the same with me.
Stick with one. I'm going to stick with one.
They're all the same with me.
Oh, that's very racist.
Is it? I don't think racist is the word.
Well,
culturist.
Being from
making fun of someone's accent, that's not really racist.
I think that would be a little racist.
Because it's not your race that determines your accent.
Ian, you have to solve this problem for us. Just like Telltale Games, you have to make a choice. Is Chris right or is Dan right? Whatever you choose,
Chris will remember that.
Whatever you choose, Ian, you lose. Let me be clear. This is not a game you win.
I choose not to choose.
Dan and Chris will remember that.